Tēnā koe, Mr. Speaker. Tēnā koutou I te whare. Kia koutou e raurangatira mā o Ngāti Manuhiri. Nau mai, hara mai, ki te whare pāramata e takatui nei. Mo tēnei rā whakahirahira. Piti hono, tātai hono, rātou te hunga mate kia rātou, tātou te hunga ore kia tātou, tēnā koutou, tēnā tātou katoa. Mr. Speaker, I'm delighted to be able to speak at this final reading of the Ngāti Manuhiri Claim Settlement Bill, and Labour, as we have all along, we wholeheartedly support this bill at this third reading, sir. Mr. Speaker, genealogy is the key that unlocks the history of these iwi that come before our House and our Māori Affairs Select Committee. Today I re-acknowledge my tupuna, Maki of Taranaki and Kāwhia, Maki of Te Tai Hauauru, who with his confederates travelled from Kāwhia through to the Hokianga and back down into the Waitakere and Tāmaki areas. As my ancestor chased his foe, a chief of the Kaipara made disparaging remarks about Maki. As was usual, word got back to Maki, and in the relentless and unforgiving nature of Māori warfare, Maki was particularly harsh on the people of Kaipara. But there was more to Māori warfare, Mr. Speaker, than out-and-out slaughter of the enemy. Sometimes a battle would not reach its conclusion because of the sudden withdrawal of support. And so more often than not, a peace deal would be made and the politics of peace talks was begun. But these talks were more than just a way to stop bloodshed. It was an opportunity for chiefs to make political and strategic alliances. Often these pacts between chiefs and tribes were sealed with gifts, mere pounamu, waka, slaves, or in Maki's case, wives. It's a wise man who gives up his daughter to stop further bloodshed, as was in those times. Now, it won't go down with the feminists of today, but this was the reality of our tupuna. And the reason was simple. Give my daughter as wife to a victorious chief, and my grandchildren will be of the rangatira lines of both tribes, and so therefore less likely that old tribal feuds are reignited. But time marches on inexorably and without prejudice. The whānau and hapu groupings have swelled in numbers to the point that by the time of the Treaty of Waitangi came about in 1840, those small family groupings had turned into large iwi. And so with each passing generations, bros became cousins, and the degree of relationship diminished to the point where a new set of rules were applied by the participants. And in 1840, Pākehā became a new formula in this equation. This man, Maki, what a tupuna. Descendants can be found on the west coast of the North Island, from as far south as Pātea to Kāwhia, through to Tāmaki and up to the Hokianga. His name can be found in the word Tāmaki. Tāmaki. The tribe Te Kawarau a Maki are his descendants, as are the people of Ngāti Manuhiri and some of Ngāti Wai. This settlement bill has been a long time in the making. Many hui over decades have been held. Strong and vociferous kōrero has been put forward in establishing hapu and iwi authority. More sadly, people have passed on, and all of that stems from whakapapa. For me, Mr. Speaker, Te Hauturu o Toi, Little Barrier Island, is of particular significance. Concerns were raised by Ngāti Wai that Ngāti Manuhiri would receive the island back in some form or another. They too have whakapapa links to the island, and quite rightly made that clear in the many oral and written submissions made by the descendants of Ngāti Wai. After thorough investigation, our committee has left an opportunity for Ngāti Wai to stake their claim to mana and a shared interest in Little Barrier Island. So our committee was aware of concerns also over allegations of possible conflicts of interest with regard to certain people and organisations of Ngāti Wai and Ngāti Manuhiri. Both tribes said same legal teams, and some people ended up on both representative boards, it was claimed. But that's not nepotism, Mr. Speaker. That's whakapapa. The reason these kaumātua and kuia puta no te motu up and down the country, the reason they stand on one trust board and stand on another board is because of their genealogy. Our old people that lead the way for us younger ones do so from the safety and security of their whakapapa. Their families are likely to be of rangatira lines. And as was the way of our old people, to be able to recite your relationship to the people you are about to do politics with was very advantageous, a great leverage when negotiating. The close links between Ngāti Manuhiri and Ngāti Wai have been acknowledged. This committee has no reservations about conflicts of interest and that the dual roles have been made plain to the community concerned. The cultural and financial redress in this bill is significant, Mr. Speaker, but it's never enough, not just for Ngāti Manuhiri, but all hapu and iwi up and down the country. There will never be enough money for redress, and there will never be enough land and buildings to be given back. Iwi have to make do with what's on offer. No doubt, Ngāti Manuhiri's post-settlement entity will look to invest well. They have a number of properties and reserves coming back into their ownership. Old tupuna names will be revived, and a new generation of Ngāti Manuhiri will start. But can I make one point, Mr. Speaker? I've noticed in my time on the Māori Affairs Committee this practice or trend of gifting back significant lakes, mountains and islands with a clause that says it's only for a day or a week before the tribe magnanimously gifts it back to the nation. Minister, Mr. Philipson, will be aware, 1840 to 2009 is 169 years. 2012. Why not give the island back to its iwi for 169 years and then let the people and the government of 2,171 sort out their continuing treaty relationship? Now, I know, Minister, you'll think that's a totally ridiculous situation with your high EQ, emotional intelligence, but it can never happen. I know that it's screaming in your head, but I tell you, Minister, there is no real mana in holding your long-lost taonga tukuiho land for a day or a few days or a week before being forced to give it back to the people of New Zealand. That little mamae aside, I'm proud to be a member of the formidable Māori Affairs Committee that is more than ably chaired by my Ngāti Hine Whanaunga, the Honourable Tauhenere. His guiding hand from the chair over what has been a very robust grouping has been very, very speaker-like. So I mihi to my whanaunga. But I also implore him not to make any offhand remarks to smoking this day, because I guarantee you it'll be those remarks about a smoking habit or something that is totally frivolous that will end up in the Herald or in the blogosphere and in the media, and not the very, very important hui that we have here today. And so that's another kōrero I'd like to pass on to the media. This is a great day, these treaty settlement days. These are highly significant, historic occasions, and they should be widely reported to all the people of New Zealand. And so just in conclusion, Mr. Speaker, I'd like to acknowledge all the many people from both sides who were involved in this settlement process. I'd like to acknowledge the Minister and all of his officials, but more importantly, I'd like to mihi to all the whānau of Ngāti Manuhiri. It's been a very long journey, but this is a hugely significant occasion. And so to all my distant relations, I wish you all the very best in the future. Kia ora no tātou.
Manuhiri Ature.